I died choking on my own blood, the taste of betrayal as metallic as the knife in my gut. One second, I'm pleading with my cousin Ethan, my so-called family savior, as he whispers how poor trash like you never gets it, and the next, everything fades to black in that dingy Brooklyn warehouse. But death wasn't the end. It was a goddamn reset button, slamming me back into my 22-year-old body, heart pounding like a jackhammer, the morning of the deal that started it all. That hook yanked me awake in my crappy Queens apartment, the kind with peeling wallpaper and a fridge that hummed like a dying bee. I bolted upright, gasping, my hands flying to my stomach, smooth, unscarred, alive. The calendar on the wall screamed September 15th, 2018. 7 years back. The day I trusted Ethan with everything. I stumbled to the mirror, staring at the ghost of myself. Wild brown curls, freckles across my nose from too many summers slinging coffee at that hole-in-the-wall diner, and eyes, God, those eyes, wide with the fire that got me killed. Hannah Riley, the family joke, the girl from the wrong side of the tracks who dreamed too big. My mom had scrubbed floors to keep us afloat after Dad bailed when I was 10, and my extended family? They treated us like we were contagious poverty. Aunt Lydia, with her Botox-smooth forehead and designer handbags, would coo about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps while sipping rose at their Hamptons barbecues. And Ethan, my cousin, the golden boy with an MBA from Wharton and a trust fund thicker than my entire life savings? He was the worst. Poor people don't understand business, hon, he'd say, chuckling like it was a punchline. It's not your fault. Y'all just chase shiny things without reading the fine print. That line echoed in my skull now, a razor slicing through the fog of disorientation. I remembered every cut, how I'd scraped together $50,000 from night shifts and student loans to pitch my app idea, a platform connecting small-town artisans with urban buyers, cutting out the middlemen who gouged everyone. It was my ticket out, my proof that I wasn't just some welfare case with delusions. Ethan had loved it. Said he'd invest, handle the legalese, make me rich. Instead, he'd buried clauses in the contract that funneled every dime to his shell company. When I caught on, months later, broke and buried in debt, he'd lured me to that warehouse under the guise of a final meeting. His words as the blade went in, "You are always too greedy for your own good. Family helps family, but only if they know their place." Tears burned my cheeks, but I swiped them away. Not this time. This time, I knew the script. And I was rewriting every fucking page. First things first, survival. I couldn't touch the app, not yet. That was his trap, laced with poison. Instead, I grabbed my laptop, the one with the cracked screen, and dove into the shadows of the internet. Crypto was booming in 2018, Bitcoin flirting with $6,000 after that dip. I'd studied it in stolen moments between shifts, but now, it was my war chest. I liquidated what little I had, $2.347 from my checking account, and funneled it into Ethereum, timing the buy on a hunch from the forums I'd haunt in my past life. The forums where no one asked questions, where ghosts like me could plot in peace. Days blurred into a frenzy. I quit the diner on the spot, ignoring my boss's sputtered protests, and holed up in the public library, chugging vending machine coffee like it was adrenaline. Sleep was for the dead. I coded side gigs on Upwork, simple scripts for lazy devs, pocketing $500 here, $800 there. Every cent went back into trades, altcoins, options, the volatile underbelly of finance where poor people supposedly feared to tread. Ethan would laugh if he knew, but he didn't. Not yet. By week 3, my portfolio hit $15,000. Small potatoes, but it felt like blood money, sweet, vengeful. I moved out of Queens, subletting a closet-sized studio in Williamsburg for cash under the table. No leases, no traces. Anonymity was my armor. I dyed my hair ash blonde, swapped my thrift store jeans for anonymous hoodies, and built a burner identity. H. Ellis, a faceless investor with a VPN-routed email. The first real test came at Thanksgiving. The family summons arrived like clockwork, Aunt Lydia's engraved invite, all faux warmth. Can't wait to see our little entrepreneur. Bring that famous pie. In my old life, I'd baked it from scratch, hands raw from dough, hoping for scraps of approval. This time, I showed up empty-handed, slipping in late to their McMansion in Westchester, the driveway clogged with Beamers and Teslas. Ethan spotted me first, lounging by the fireplace in a cashmere sweater, martini in hand.
Hun.
You look different. Rough week. His smile was a shark's, charming, calculating. At 28, he was already climbing at Goldman, the firm's wunderkind with a Rolodex of whales. Yeah, I said, forcing a laugh that tasted like ash. Diner life's a grind. But hey, congrats on that promotion. Must be nice, rubbing elbows with the real players. He preened, launching into war stories about deals that changed lives. I nodded, eyes scanning the room. Uncle Frank, red-faced and blustery, barking about tax loopholes. Cousin Mia, Ethan's shadow, giggling at his every quip. Aunt Lydia, flitting like a socialite butterfly, her diamond earrings catching the light like accusations. They were a fortress of privilege, built on the bones of folks like my mom, who died of cancer 2 years ago, uninsured because family businesses don't need that overhead, as Frank had sneered at her funeral. Dinner was the usual torture, turkey dry as regret, wine flowing like excuses. When talk turned to me, "So, Hannah, any bites on that little app of yours?" Ethan leaned in, voice dripping sympathy. "It's tough out there for startups without connections. Poor people don't understand business, am I right? No offense." The table tittered. Mia snorted wine. Frank boomed. "Here, here. Bootstraps, girl. Pull 'em." In my past life, I'd flushed crimson, stammered about progress.
Now?
I met Ethan's gaze, my fork pausing midair. "Funny you say that. I've been reading up. Turns out, the real game isn't bootstraps, it's leverage. Knowing when to fold. Or bluff." His brow twitched just a flicker. Deep thoughts from the coffee slinger. "What's your angle, Han?" I smiled, slow and sharp. "Just observing. You ever think about how one bad bet could topple a house of cards?" The room stilled. Lydia cleared her throat. "Dessert, anyone?" That night, driving back in my Rust Bucket Civic, I transferred $20,000 from my crypto wallet to a brokerage account under H. Ellis. Seed money for Phase 2, shorting the stocks Ethan was hyping in his insider circles. I'd overheard enough at those dinners. Tips on pharma mergers, tech bubbles ready to burst. In my old life, I dismissed them as gossip. Now, they were ammunition. Winter hit like a freight train, snow blanketing the city in indifferent white. My studio smelled of ramen and ambition, walls papered with charts I'd printed at Kinko's. By January 2019, my nest egg cracked $100,000. I diversified. Index funds for stability, meme stocks for the rush. It was addictive, this power, the click of a mouse rewriting fate. But revenge wasn't just numbers, it was personal. I started digging. Late nights, fueled by energy drinks, I hacked together a script to scrape public records. Ethan's firm? Clean on the surface, but whispers in SEC filings hinted at creative accounting. More, a buried lawsuit from 2015, settled quietly, a junior analyst driven to suicide after Ethan scapegoated him for a bad trade. Collateral damage, the deposition read. My blood ran cold. Was that the monster I trusted? Then, the secret unraveled like a cheap sweater. A deep dive into family genealogy, free on Ancestry if you knew where to poke, revealed the lie at our core. Dad hadn't bailed. Uncle Frank had framed him for embezzlement back in '08, right before the crash, to cover his own Ponzi scheme with clients' retirement funds. Dad did 5 years in Sing Sing, came out broken, OD'd on painkillers 6 months later. Mom never knew the truth. She'd slaved away blaming herself.
And Ethan?
He'd been Frank's apprentice, 18 and eager, forging the paper trail that sealed it. Rage bloomed, hot and black. This wasn't just betrayal, it was a dynasty of deceit, built on my father's grave. They weren't family, they were thieves in tailored suits. I needed proof. Real proof. So I did the controversial thing. I reached out to a disgraced PI from the old case, a grizzled ex-cop named Rizzo who'd taken a bribe to bury evidence. Found him in a Bronx dive bar, nursing a scotch and regrets. "Kid," he rasped after I slid him $5,000 in an envelope, "you look like that Riley fella." "Same fire." "Help me burn them," I said. "No more, no less."
He did.
Over months, dossiers piled up. Emails, wire transfers, a hidden offshore account linking Frank to Russian oligarchs laundering money through Ethan's deals. It was a powder keg, but lighting it too soon? Suicide. I played long game, feeding anonymous tips to regulators while building my empire. By spring, Ellis was a whisper in VC circles, a mystery funder dropping seven figures on overlooked startups. Female-led, minority-owned, the scraps the Ethans of the world ignored. My first big win, a fintech app for gig workers, securing loans without the soul-crushing interest rates that had trapped me. It netted me 20x returns when they IPO'd early. Ethan noticed. A text pinged one April morning. "Heard you're playing investor now? Spill. Who's your sugar daddy?" Smiley emoji, like we were still kids trading comic books. I typed back, fingers steady. "Just bootstrapping, cuz. You taught me well." Laughter bubbled up, bitter and free. The hook was set. Now to reel him in. Summer 2019 baked New York into a pressure cooker, humidity thick as unspoken sins. My portfolio swelled to $2 million, a warren of assets hidden behind LLCs in Delaware and Nevada. I upgraded to a one-bedroom in Bushwick, still anonymous, but with a balcony overlooking the L train's rattle, a symphony of second chances. Mornings, I'd sip black coffee and review Rizzo's latest drops. Audio clips of Frank berating Ethan over a sloppy cover-up, Mia's Venmo trails to escorts paid from family-slush funds. It painted them not as villains, but as a rotting ecosystem, each feeding on the other's decay. The controversial decisions started small, then snowballed. First, I shorted Goldman stock right before a whistleblower leak I'd anonymously fueled. Ethan's division took the hit. Bonuses slashed, his name splashed in the journal as oversight failure. He called me that night, voice tight over takeout Chinese. "Han, you see this shit? Market's eating us alive." "Poor people don't understand business," I quipped, echoing his ghost. "Or do we?" Silence, then a forced chuckle.
Touché.
"Hey, speaking of, got a lead on your app? I could still make it happen."
The bait.
In my old life, I'd bitten, desperate.
Now?
"Nah, I'm good. Got my own plays." He pushed, probing like a dentist on a nerve. "Come on, family discount. What are you hiding, girl?" "Secrets," I said lightly. "Everyone's got 'em." Hanging up, I felt the thrill, the first crack in their facade. But power corrupts quick, and mine twisted dark. Next decision, poaching Ethan's protege, a sharp kid named Javier from the Bronx, same streets that birthed me. I met him at a dive in LES, sliding him a business card for Ellis Ventures. "Your boss is a hack," I said flat out. "Wants you shining his shoes while he steals the credit. Jump ship, I'll fund your AI ethics startup. Real impact, not spreadsheets." Javier's eyes narrowed. "How do you know about the ethics angle?" I smiled. "I pay attention." He jumped. Ethan raged in a group chat. "Traders everywhere. Who's next, Han?" I screenshotted it, filed for later. As fall leaves turned, my net worth hit $10 million. I diversified into real estate, flipping foreclosures in the outer boroughs, turning crack dens into co-ops for artists priced out of Manhattan. Controversial? Hell yes. I undercut developers by 20%, using gray market labor to keep costs low. Whispers called me a gentrifier vigilante, but tenants loved it, affordable rents with rooftop gardens. The press dubbed Ellis the shadow philanthropist, and I let it ride, no face, no name. Ethan's cracks widened. A DUI bust in November, him swerving out of a strip club, Mia in the passenger seat, both reeking of coke. Frank bailed him out, but the headline stung. Goldman heirs family ties to scandal. I hadn't tipped the cops. That was Rizzo, earning his keep. But I did leak the settlement docs from the 2015 suicide to a blogger with a grudge. Ethan Riley, Wall Street's dirty secret, went viral on Reddit, r/Wall Street bets turning it into meme fodder. He confronted me at Christmas, crashing my stoop like a storm cloud in a parka. "What the fuck, Hannah? You stirring shit." I leaned against the doorframe, steam from my mug curling like smoke signals. "Me? I'm just surviving. You should try it sometime, without Daddy's net." His face twisted, handsome features sharpening to something feral. "You think you're hot shit now? With your mystery money? I know poor when I see it. You're faking, begging for scraps." I stepped closer, voice low. "Or maybe I learned the game better than you. Ever think the house always wins? Unless you rig it first?" He shoved past, muttering about ungrateful bitch, but I caught the fear in his eyes.
Good.
Fear was fertilizer. New Year's brought the big play. I'd amassed $50 million, a hydra of investments, green energy in the Rust Belt, biotech for underserved clinics, even a stake in that artisan app, reborn under my code, sans Ethan's claws. Rizzo delivered the crown jewel, an encrypted drive with Frank's ledgers, proving the '08 frame job. Dad's innocence, in black and white. I could go public, torch them all. But revenge isn't a sprint, it's a siege. Instead, I made the call that haunted me. I approached Mia, my cousin, the fragile one, always trailing Ethan like a lost puppy. We met in a quiet cafe in Soho, her bleached hair limp, eyes hollow from whatever pills she popped to keep up. "Hon," she whispered, twisting a napkin. "It's bad. Ethan's spiraling. Debts, girls threatening lawsuits. Frank's yelling about cutting him off." I slid a latte her way, casual. "You deserve better. Walk away. I can help, quietly." She blinked, tears welling.
Why?
"You hate us."
Not you. I lied.
"Just the lies. Remember Grandpa's stories? About families sticking together? This ain't that." It was manipulation, pure and simple. Controversial as hell, pitting blood against blood. But Mia was the weak link, raised on silver spoons and empty praise. She cracked, spilling. Ethan's side hustle, siphoning client funds into crypto scams, using my old app code as the front end. Irony bit deep. Armed with that, I struck. Anonymously funded a class action suit against his firm, whistleblowers popping like whack-a-mole. SEC raided Goldman's offices in February 2020, just as COVID whispers turned to screams. Ethan got suspended, Frank retired for health reasons, their empire wobbling. But the pandemic? It was my accelerator. Markets tanked. I bought low, scooped distressed assets like a vulture with a conscience. By summer, Ellis topped $100 million, channeling funds to food banks in Queens, the ones Mom had volunteered at. Ghosts demand tribute. Ethan hit bottom in July. A call at 3 a.m. "Hon, I fucked up. Lost everything.
Can you
Loan me? For old times?" My heart twisted. Hate and pity in a knife fight. Old times? Like the warehouse. Silence. Then, hoarse. "What warehouse?" I hung up, blocking the number. But doubt crept in. Was I becoming them? Ruthless, isolated? Rizzo pulled me back. "Kid, revenge is a meal best served cold. But don't choke on it." Fall 2020, markets rebounded. My worth exploding to $150 million. I hosted my first gala, virtual, for my portfolio companies. Toasts to resilience, underdog wins. In the chat, a message from an unknown. Impressive, H. Ellis. We should talk. E.R. The hook reversed. Time to set the table. Winter 2020 to 2021 blurred into a fever dream of Zoom calls and skyrocketing valuations. COVID vaccines rolled out like hesitant miracles, and with them, my empire ballooned. $250 million by March, a fortune forged in firewalls and forgotten passwords. H. Ellis wasn't just a name, it was a movement, funding co-ops in Detroit, solar farms in Appalachia, apps that let single moms like mine track gig shifts without the grind. The press chased shadows, speculating I was some tech bro's ex or a Saudi prince in drag. I laughed from my new loft in Dumbo, floor-to-ceiling views of the bridge mocking the barriers I'd shattered. But revenge simmered unfinished. Ethan resurfaced in April, emailing from a Gmail account. Lunch? Neutral ground. No bullshit. I agreed. Central Park, the boathouse, tourists milling like oblivious extras. He looked wrecked, gaunt cheeks, suit hanging loose, eyes darting like a cornered rat. "Hun," he started, voice cracking. "I know I screwed you. The app, the money." I was desperate. Dad's pressure. Always more, bigger. "But you're killing me." "The leaks, the shorts, it's you, right?" H. Ellis. I sipped my iced tea, calm as a loaded gun. "Prove it." He slid a folder across, printouts of my early trades, IP traces from the library. Sloppy, I'd gotten cocky. I dug. Like old times.
Please. Help me.
Family, Han. The word hung, poisoned. Family? You gutted mine. Dad, Frank framed him. I know everything. His face drained. That was business. Recession hit hard. Your old man was weak, folding under pressure. Weak. I leaned in, voice steel. He trusted you all. Like I did. Ethan's hands shook. I can fix it. Testify, bury Dad. Give you the accounts.
Just pull back.
I'm broke, Han. Suicidal thoughts, the real shit. Pity flickered, but memory crushed it. The warehouse cold, his whisper hot. Controversial choice. I recorded it all, phone hidden in my bag. One condition, I said. Confess. On record. Everything. He nodded, desperate. We met again a week later, my lawyer, hired anonymously, present. Ethan spilled. The frame job, the suicide cover-up, Mia's complicity in fudging books. It was cathartic, his voice breaking like glass under boots.
But the twist?
As he signed the affidavit, his phone buzzed. A text from Frank. Son, wrap it up. Our buyer's here, $20M for the beach house. Clean slate. Buyer? I froze. Rizzo had missed it, Frank flipping assets to a shell, Ethan's confession, a ploy to buy time. Rage ignited. You're playing me, I hissed, yanking the papers. Ethan's mask slipped, smirk faint but there. Always were too emotional, Han. Poor people don't understand business. I lunged, but security, my shadows, hauled him out. Heart-hammering, I called Rizzo. Burn it all. The climax hit like a nor'easter. May 2021. I went public. Not as Hannah, but H. Ellis, unveiling at a presser in the old Goldman atrium, rented for the irony. Cameras flashed as I stepped to the podium, ash hair swept back, red dress like spilled blood. I'm Hannah Riley, I announced, voice steady. Cousin to the Rileys who taught me poverty's a punchline. But today, I own the joke. Dossiers dropped. Frank's ledgers to the DOJ, Ethan's affidavit, edited for his lies, to the Times. Stocks tanked. Indictments flew. Frank arrested at dawn, ranting about ingrates. Mia fled to Europe, posting tearful instas before ghosting.
Ethan?
He vanished, a warrant out for fraud. The fallout was chaos. Pundits screaming, family vendetta on CNBC, Reddit threads dissecting my rise like a thriller plot. Controversial? I courted it. Op-eds on white-collar crimes human cost, donating $50 million to wrongful conviction funds. Dad's name cleared posthumously, a quiet ceremony at his grave with Rizzo toasting cheap whiskey. But the twist gutted me. June, a knock at midnight. Ethan, disheveled, gun in hand. You win, Han. But family's forever. He pulled the trigger, or tried.
Click.
Empty. I'd swapped the clip weeks ago, after hacking his search for untraceable pistols. He crumpled, sobbing. Why? I knelt, voice soft. Because I chose mercy over murder.
Go.
Disappear. Or I finish it legal. He slunk away, a broken king. No cops. I let him fade, a ghost in his own life. Summer healed slow. My worth stabilized at $300 million. But the real win? Mom's old diner, bought and revamped into a community hub, free meals, coding classes for kids like me. Aunt Lydia called once, groveling. We were wrong.
Can we talk?
No, I said. But here's a check.
For the food bank.
Use it right. Ending? Not fairy tale, not tragedy, gray. American as apple pie with arsenic. I stood on my balcony that July 4th, fireworks blooming over the harbor. Each burst a memory. Death's choke, life's reset, revenge's hollow roar. Poor people do understand business. It's just bloodier from the bottom. Ethan resurfaced years later, a barista in Portland, for a tip. He smiled when I walked in, no recognition. I ordered black coffee, left a $100 tip. Keep the change, I said. Family helps family. As I walked out, the skyline whispered, forgiven, but never forgotten.